Welcome to another episode of Real Dad Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Al, and in today's episode, we're talking about strategies, tactics, and damage control when it comes to silly season. Now, a lot of you may be listening to this or watching this on YouTube or on several different platforms. Don't forget, for the month of December, which is nearly up, and January, Tribal, the Power of Environment. If you're watching the video, if you're listening, I am holding up our book. It's a complete course, video series, audio book, and an ebook that shows you how powerful the tribe is in your life. Many different tribes you may have or may not have, good, bad, and the ugly. Nothing influences you more in your life than your external environment. And that is an absolute, that's a universal law. That is a truth when it comes down to you. How you value yourself, how you see yourself, and the actions that you take moving forward in your life comes down to those that you are surrounded by and your surroundings as well, people, places, and things. In this episode, what I want to talk about, it's a bit of a Christmas special, but like I said, a lot of you will be listening to this. You might listen to it before New Year's. You might listen to it before Australia Day or before Easter or before birthday parties or before the Queen's birthday or all these different holidays. This is the crazy part about life. There's always something around the corner, right? You know, I'll start next week. I'll start next month. I'll start next year. Maybe you say I'll start next year. Maybe that's a term that's coined towards the back end of the year when you no longer think there's any value in what's left, when the way I see it, recording this, there's still half a dozen or, 10 days left of the year. A lot can happen in that period of time. So when we're looking at strategies and tactics and how to overcome, not just your physiology, how to not gain weight and how to have good energy and how to enjoy yourself at the same time without being a saint, what I want to dive into here is the mindset behind it all, the scope and how you see yourself, how you value yourself. See, this is the thing. Too often people will blow themselves out of the water, getting on the piss or eating shit food and diving into routines that are part of their life without even questioning them, asking why, which then leads to not prioritizing the other areas like moving your body and exercise. And it leaves this spiraling effect where things are just chaotic. It's out of control. It's out of control. You blink and you've gone from 18 to 48, 30 years have gone. It's like yesterday you're in school, and then all of a sudden here you are, you've got kids, you're middle age, you're entering or in the second half of life, and there's just chaos everywhere. Whether it's chaotic in terms of intensity or not is irrelevant. In terms of your life, there's no structure. And with no structure, there can't be opportunity to value yourself. There can't be the opportunity to focus on the right things. There cannot be the opportunity to spend the time that you need on certain things that matter. There cannot be the opportunity to build and maintain healthy relationships with your missus, with your children, with yourself, with your work and colleagues. There can't be the opportunity to have good results. There can't be the opportunity for sustainability, to have results that are long-term. This is the thing, and it was a bit of a breakthrough that come to me, where we're living and breathing it every single day inside of RDM in our VIP group. But I didn't realize the emphasis and the flow and effect it can have by really reinforcing it. And that's structure. That is the pinnacle, man. That is the number one thing that we all need in our life, because as we get older, fatherhood's just another hat. It's the biggest hat we wear, yes. But as we get older as men, things get more complex, more complicated, busier, crazier. We have less energy to combat that. We have less self-esteem and physical and mental energy together to combat that, which means we're in a position where we're more subservient or submissive to the process instead of diving in and building and fortifying ourselves and who we are. And a lot of that comes down to just having some simple structure in place. So when we go through in a second, the strategies and tactics that we can dive into when it comes to navigating around birthday celebrations, weddings, baptisms, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, like I said, Australia Day, it comes down to ultimately your perspective on things and how you see and value yourself and who you want to become. Because when we become gluttons to our taste buds and we self-sabotage, or others we allow to sabotage us subtly, we don't even know what's happening, we then have the ability, and a lot of people don't, but you have the ability to look back and go, fuck, man, what did I do that for? Like, honestly, I did that, like just to satisfy some taste buds or to bow down to some social or peer pressure of people who are ribbing me because I don't feel like a beer, but I'm having one anyway because they said I should, and come on, mate, lighten up, or, life's here to be lived, or a couple won't hurt you, it's okay to treat yourself. Like love them to death, bless them, my in-laws, but my mother-in-law, it's okay to treat yourself. I'm like, what, treat yourself every single day? Like this is the hard part. It's not a treat if you're doing it every single day. So what you see over the Christmas period isn't necessarily a treat on gorging and gluttony. What it is a pattern that's being exposed because of a higher level of opportunities around. That's not a good thing. And make no mistake, I am not a saint. I'm not here to throw down the law or, crack the whip or stand above you on some sort of pedestal saying I'm better than you. I'm here to show you that there's some bullshit and patterns that we need to look at eliminating and ultimately removing by having better structure in place and being smarter, but knowing why you have your smarts about you, knowing why you have these tactics and strategies in place and what it means to you. This is the session I did the other night with our Sunday charge up. And it was a series of points, which we'll dive into here. And the final one was a question, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to the will and the desire to follow through and actually do it. That's the big thing. I can have all the answers, man. And we do. Like RTM's a phenomenal group of what we do in the inner circle, whether you remember or not. Like, we have the answers, and we have those answers because we open our ears. We listen. We understand, we acknowledge, we empathize on some of the challenges, some of the hardships we have with dads, which is why what we do is convenient and structured around the man. It's why what we do is with purpose. You're not going to just do 100 burpees because it's going to burn calories. That's bullshit. What does that even mean? You're going to exercise and move and nourish the body because of the mental capacity and performance it gives you. Your body is a performance machine. It doesn't matter if you never have abs again, or if you never had abs to start with. Your body is a performance machine to serve you. The end. It's a performance machine to serve you between the ears, to serve your heart, serve your mind, serve that spirit and that will to go, yes, I will rise up and I will execute in life what I need to do, because you're using your body. You use it for everything. Trust me, going through 9 operations over 6 years was something that was debilitating and crushing my soul, man. Like someone who was a high-level athlete, so there was obviously a bigger range and a bigger gap of loss, but it's not as bad in my eyes, even though I went from elite athlete to someone who couldn't even walk, as someone who's consistently getting worse over decades of their life. That's like death by 1,000 cuts, man. That's like slow level of torture. At least mine were big hits and then straight in the operating theatre, getting done, all right, the recovery process begins. So keep that in mind as we dive into these tactics and these pinpoint areas of how you can really win and dominate not only Christmas, but any celebratory season or area or element, even if it's one day. All right, I've got a wedding. And this is a wedding, it's my best mate, or it's my daughter's, or it's my son's. And you know what? I'm going to let the hair down now. I'm going to eat everything. I'm going to get on the piss. Awesome. Great. Good for you, mate. Enjoy that. But just know that there are things you can do before and after to alleviate that damage control. And this is my point. I'm not here begging and pleading on how hard and how bad everything's going to get. I'm here to tell you and show you that, mate, I'm telling you, man, you do this the wrong way over Chrissy News, it's going to fuck you up for 3 months. It will. It's going to bust you up for at least 4 to 6 weeks. And then you got to get back on the horse, and then you quit, and then you get back on, then you quit. Next thing you know, Easter's around the corner. Next thing you know, it's winter. It's too cold. You know, I'll start in summer again. I've got too much work to do. I'm too busy. I've got to do the kids. I've got their winter sport. And all these stories float in. And all of a sudden, here we are. You'll listen to this podcast in 2021, October, November, December. You'll be like, well, fuck, Al, you hit the nail on the head then. Here we are. We're about to enter 2022. This is how baffling it is and ultimately surreal, even for me, because I'm doing it every day, which means I'm measuring the calendar. I'm measuring time. I'm measuring years. On the back of some of our shirts, it's got 2020 to 2030, the decade of dads. I'm measuring that. So it becomes even more surreal for me when I'm doing these same videos again. It's the same message, man, of growth and greatness and becoming the best father you can be through investing in yourself and valuing yourself, having good structure in place. Like I can rattle it off like that with my eyes closed asleep. But the time changes. I'll be here in 2021 doing another video built around this, heading into 2022 and 2028 and 2034. It's amazing how fast life goes. It's so fast, man. One thing, focus on one thing, dominate that, and live your life the best you can. That's all we have time for. I guess I've done gyms and multiple things, but focusing on one thing at a time and nailing that and building structure around that is something that's going to build a rich and rewarding life because it goes so fast. I used to get confused when I looked at 80-year-olds and they acted like fucking children. I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm half Italian. I've been raised with this whole respect your elders stuff. What's going on here? These people have no idea. And then I realized that time that we live in this earth, even if you live to be 80, it's a fart in the wind in the cosmos of time. Like it really is. It's nothing. It is literally gone like that, like that, like that. I'm 35 at the time of doing this. The dads I coach, they range from 35. Most of them are about 40 to 53. That's the range. They're in the second half, entering the second half. And here they are. They're in the second half. This is how crazy it is when I look forward and I see these fathers, and they inspire me on them getting up and having a crack, because so many fall apart and just turn to shit. 99% of the population generally does that. They settle. They no longer seek growth. This is it. They don't value themselves. They don't think they can change. They don't want to change because they don't think they can. Trust me, everyone wants to be better, but they don't think they can. So they convince themselves that they don't want to. That's bullshit. Time goes so fast, though, that it becomes a pattern where all of a sudden you're 60 and you think you're old, but you're not. You've just built in patterns from when you were 25 or 33 or 37 that have led to this slowly degenerative state. All of a sudden you're looking inside of your life going, wow, where did all that go? It just is what it is. And you throw your hands up in the air and you don't have any control, any ownership over your life, no responsibility. Blame something else, blame someone else. Strategies and tactics. It does help to have the right arsenal, the right firepower, the right tools in the shed, so to speak, when it comes to handling these challenges, whether it's people, places, or things. Social settings, social constructs, yeah, they can be hard. Maybe it's why I don't have as many friends as I used to, because I'm very strong-headed and strong-willed, and I don't bow down or conform to people who just want me to go to parties and get on the piss and do all sorts of various things. I'm not saying that old friends are like that. What I'm saying is, whilst I continually create and expand and influence my environment and bring people into that, like RDM, my environment found me too, because of the energy I was putting out there. This is definitely a yin and yang process. Am I saying you need to cut your mate because you know deep down he's poison and he's a victim mentality and he's trying to pull you away and trying to bring you down and sabotage you and get you to do things just to validate him and to make him feel better because he's living a substandard life in lackluster way? Well, that's on you, man. It's totally up to you. Many won't, and that's okay, but just accept that. Don't fucking blame Jimmy when you're 60 years old. You know, he's dragged me through this for the last 20 years. Have some fucking balls about you and rise up in your own standards and be your own man, be your own king. What we've done with RDM is 10-day treks. This is the first thing, 10 days of trekking, 10-day walking. So from the 23rd until the 2nd of January, that covers Christmas and New Year's, walking every day. It's commitment, it's structure, it's convenience. It helps the body reduce inflammation because you're moving at a period where people are on holidays, a lot of the times they don't do movement, and it burns calories. It's incredible. Get out and walk. Headspace, it's great for that, creating some space and outlet for you, for your mindset. Go for a walk with the missus, with the kids, on your own, with the dogs, doesn't matter. At the beach, at the park, do a trail walk in the bush, on the road, like just walking in your neighborhood, doesn't matter. Walking for 10 days, building that in. You're going to really burn some calories, have a good headspace, have some structure and convenience in your life to go, you know what, this is my time, I'm going to do this. This is great for me and it's my outlet. That's convenient. It really is, because when you're sitting on the lounge and you're sloughing away, and they're not levels of convenience, they might be levels of perceived comfort, but it's not going to make you feel better. So for our dads, they're walking every single day. We start this challenge and we're walking every single day. Like I said, we're doing it from the 23rd until the 2nd of January. Fasting. Fasting long-term can be great, but fasting every single day long-term cannot. What you're doing is you're regenerating your cells, cellular repair, you're having a rest and giving your digestive system a break, and you're incorporating certain elements of your life, the structure of time, the food. Okay, I'm going to have a big lunch on Chrissy Day. Boxing Day, we've got the family coming around for dinner. Like picking your battles and going, you know what, I don't actually have to eat right now. I'm going to get my calories in at a later stage. So I'm going to fast this morning and literally just have water, coffee with no milk or sugar or cream, and keep my calories incredibly low to none. Fasting can be an amazing reset for you, and it is really, really beneficial, like I said, for your cellular health, for your cognitive function. You're very focused, you're very aware, you're on the ball, you're on point with everything you're thinking or focusing on. It becomes enhanced. Your brain is wired at a better level, at a greater level. You're not wasting blood or energy by digesting and absorbing the food that you're ingesting. You're literally having more firepower for the real estate between the ears to operate. So fasting can be a great tool, because also what that does is it gives you a limited window, no matter how much of a guts you are and what type of food you eat, it gives you a limited window to get the volume of calories in that you otherwise normally would if you have 3 to 4 meals a day plus copious amounts of snacks. I'm going to fast till 12:30. I'm going to fast till 11. The night before, just have dinner at 7 o'clock. Don't have any desserts or snacks. You fast for 16 hours. It goes very quickly. If you eat dinner at 7, fast forward 12 hours, that's 7. Fast forward 4 more hours to make it 16, that's 11 a.m. Just push your breakfast back a little bit. It's not that hard. And it's not a sacrificial thing. It's a beautiful thing that you can incorporate and implement into your life in certain periods. Some of our dads will do it for a few weeks at a time. Some do it consistently once or twice a week. Some will do it for a period of 3 months and then stop. Use it to apply a level of purpose for you that gets your calories down, gets the inflammation down, and gets the body rejuvenating itself around this period where it can be silly with alcohol and food. Fasting, a beautiful thing. Have less carbohydrates. I love carbs. They play an amazing role. I'm not saying have none. I'm definitely not saying that. Carbs are awesome. You need it. They're a very powerful thing to have in your life consistently. But across the board, more often than not, what you're going to find is there's going to be carbohydrates everywhere around the Chrissy period, even before Christmas. Almost certainly in your house right now, there's carbohydrates available. So limit your carbs, but to alter or counter that, pump up your protein, have more protein. Chances are there's going to be some levels of fat in that protein, which is going to keep you satiated. It's going to satisfy your hunger levels. You want fattier cuts of meat? Fine. Get some chicken thigh, do those sorts of things. Get some fish, unreal. Salmon, it's a good one, obviously high levels of fat. Have a high level of protein and fat in your diet. I'm not saying have zero carbs, but I'm saying limit and reduce your carbohydrates over that period of time. And also when you are having your food sources, especially when it comes to fasting and breaking your fast too, try not to combine energy options. So carbohydrates is a source of energy, so is fat. So don't have heavy carb and fat options. Look, I love potato bake. It's a beautiful dish, but that may not play a role in having a large amount as soon as you break fast, or at times around Chrissy when it's on the back end of having handfuls of nuts and then also having your chockies and sweets as well. Be smart about your approach. Picking the low density foods, the fibrous foods, not that fiber is the greatest thing in the world. Don't be fooled by that, but foods that generally have good fiber in them. So you're not going over the top. And low density foods, salads can be good, veggies can be good. And obviously, like I said, your cuts of meat, protein, that sort of stuff is amazing. It's going to fill you up. It's going to look after your brain. It's going to look after your muscles and your body over this period as well and help reduce inflammation. That's a big one. Like I said before, having one big feed. Pick your battles, man. Like, is it a massive brekkie with the family? Is it a big lunch? More often than not, most families don't have 3 monstrous get-togethers. Even when my parents lived in New South Wales, we do lunch with Corinne's family, and I'd eat a bit less because I knew dinner was massive with my family. I highly doubt that you would see 3 types of families and have a huge lunch, a huge brekkie, and a huge dinner. It doesn't need to happen. So be smart. Whether you're fasting or not, pick your feed and your moment and go, that's going to be my big feed. Like I said, low-hanging fruit first, low-density foods. Smash that down and just be cautious of the snacks that you're having around that. Have your meal first. Because as soon as you start nibbling, it becomes a habit. It becomes a subconscious part of you because it's what all humans have in them, that level of grazing, which means you don't even think while you're talking or watching TV or standing around the barbie or catching up with friends or family, how many nuts and how much food you've just put in your mouth. And all of a sudden, shit, man, I've had 1,000 calories in snacks and now I've got to eat. It's crazy. If you're going to have alcohol, that's sweet. Have alcohol. Don't get on the piss, though. Like, getting on the piss means having copious amounts of alcohol. Ask yourself why. Like, what's the point of it? Why am I doing this? What's to let my hair down? It's been a tough year. I need that mental outlet. Fuck, man. If you don't have that level of control about you, what hope do you have in 2021? You think it's going to get better? Things can get much, much worse in many different ways, whether it's the bullshit the mainstream media pushes or whether it's different elements of, governmental control. There are things in play that we can't control, and that's all right. I'm not sitting here wearing a tinfoil hat. What I'm saying is there's a lot of shit going around. How about we control what we can control first? Which means maybe we don't have to sedate and distract ourselves to excessively with TV 4 to 6 hours a night and getting on the piss and having a whole carton over the weekend. You don't have to. Like, it's a choice. Take ownership over that. Don't think you have to because your mates are around. Don't think you have to because you've had a tough year. We've all had a tough year. Don't worry about that. It's been one of the best years of my life, but it hasn't come easily. That's for sure. So if you're going to have alcohol, that's great. Don't have carbs. There's already carbohydrates in most alcoholic beverages. If you're going to have alcohol, sweet. Just have no carbohydrates. The big pattern here, what I'm talking about and discussing here, guys, when we're looking at walking every single day, having high levels of protein, having less carbohydrates, having none if you're going to have some alcohol, getting some, the low density foods and high fibrous foods in the diet, bringing some fasting in, being strategic about when you're going to have your big feeds, all of these different elements that we're plug and playing, it gives you such a widespread range of options and opportunities to really let the hair down and enjoy yourself. Like I said, I'm not a saint, I'm not a Nazi cracking the whip, but also It's all built around factoring in inflammation and keeping that as low as possible. Now, look, inflammation is a normal, necessary part of life. You need it. It's very important. People think they just want to be less inflamed, maybe less inflamed. You don't want to have no inflammation in your life. There are certain key triggers in your proteins, in your bodies, your cells, your immune system that must activate and need to activate and only activate when there are levels of inflammation present. Exercise is inflammation. So all this stuff is great. What we're doing though is we're looking at reducing that inflammation that can become chronic, like a cesspool that just sits inside of you by not moving your body at all, eating shit amount of food, really blowing out your body and your system in terms of your protein, carbs, and fats out of whack, as well as giving yourself poison in alcohol. It's a drug. I mean, we all know that. Inflammation is what's going to destroy the next 90 days of your life. It really is. Because all of a sudden you become groggy, but then you back it up with Boxing Day, and then there's a couple of days, you got some jobs to do, you get out in the sun, you get absolutely scorched by the sun, you're not hydrating, you're not filling yourself with water, you're eating shit food, you might bust yourself or have an injury or have a niggle or something happen or twinge your neck. All of a sudden it's New Year's, party on, mate, she'll be right. You go through your New Year's period, it's January 8th, and all of a sudden you're like, fuck, where'd the last 3 weeks go? I've got to get myself in order. This is it. This is the time. This is the year. I'm going to get fit and healthy. I'm going to reach out to RDM this time. All jokes aside, though, I do get that. Guys have followed me for a long time, and they finally reach out and take that step. Guys who follow me never do. That's all right. But where's your life heading? Where's it going? And then it's Australia Day. We've got the barbie, or that's right, we're going out on the boat, or, we've got the family friends coming around, or the COVID restrictions have eased up, so I'm allowed to have 3 friends at home. I mean, Jesus, man, there's always going to be something. And then before you know it, Easter's here. And then before you know it, it's winter. And there's another year. There's another year. There's another year. Please understand, I'm not a doom and gloom guy. Those who know me know that I live a monstrous amount of optimism in my life, but it comes through a recognition of action, recognizing the action that you're taking in your life. Because you're reflecting, you're seeing that, you're valuing yourself for that, you're giving yourself a pat on the back for it. And first and foremost, you fucking did it, man. You did it. Like, action trumps everything. Yes, it might not be the right type of action at times. Yes, there might be some readjustments that need to take. That's cool. I'd rather have that and coordinate those errors and fix them than do nothing. Reduce the inflammation. Walk every single day. Pick your battles on the big feeds. Fast if you need to. Lower carbs, higher protein. If you have alcohol, have no carbohydrates. And finally, this big question. I want you to ask yourself this question. How much of a leader do I wish to be in this lifetime? How much of a leader do you want to be, mate? See, this is the crazy part, right? We're all leaders. And you might not think it, which comes down to your level of self-value, and that's all right. And you might not think it because with that comes responsibility and power and influence, and maybe you don't want that burden as well because that's how you see it. It's not a burden. It's a great opportunity, but you are a leader. Even if you're a shit man, you are leading your children until they become large enough, wise enough, and old enough to realize that what you've done is not right. And that's unfortunately already embedded inside of them. So they'll either break away completely or they'll re-engage the exact same patterns and behaviors, like father, like son, like father, like daughter, like mother, like son, like mother, like daughter. And they become the same again, especially living out of fear. You got to fuck that shit off. 2020, your children are seeing exactly how you're made up when it comes to things like COVID and what kind of stuff you're made out of. My children, I banned the word virus inside of our house. Fuck that shit. My 18-month-old doesn't need to learn that word. Are you serious? Their mental capacity can't handle that. My 4-year-old daughter, she doesn't need to know about virus. I cough in the house. Daddy, cover your arm like this, and puts her head in her elbow. I said, don't you ever do that again inside of this house. Don't you dare. There are elements and strands and strains of fear that's worse than any other virus that you'll ever see, because that is life-crushing. You're all leaders, or better put, you're all a leader at some stage of your life. The question is, how long do you want to be a leader for? Because ultimately, you can never be a great leader for others if you're not a great leader for yourself, which is why, for me, leadership is a phenomenal thing. Because I know if I'm a good leader for others, guess what? That means that I'm leading properly, because leadership is showing, not telling, which means guess what I'm doing? No matter what I'm doing for others, I'm doing it for me. I'm showing first. I'm living and walking it. I'm walking the path. I'm showing it first through my life, my actions, my will, my desire to be more, to be better. I'm not hot and heavy here. I'm not deep diving and saying you can't enjoy your Christmas. I'm not saying cut everything out and live like a monk just praying and living on grass. No offense, vegans, if you're listening. Rick Wheeler, one of our members. What I'm saying is be smart in your approach, apply the right strategies, apply that emphasis on having good effort in your life in what you do, but ask that underlying question of the purpose behind what you're actually doing, even the bad things, and ask yourself, what sort of life do I want? What sort of leader do I want to be? What's important for me, man? Like, what do I want? What do you want out of life? Like, I know you can't answer me, obviously. Maybe you can. Email me, alex@realdadmovement.com.au. But what do you want out of life, man? Like, what do you want? You want another 7 years to go by before you realize that you got to pull your fucking finger out and get stuck into something? You know, this is yours for the making. You're either creating or consuming in life. That's it. What are you creating? Are you a creator? Are you building your life and your legacy towards what ultimately will then be passed on to your children, if not already planted inside of them, that's growing from the seedling into a tree? Because when you and me are gone, because we will die, this is the key point I'll finish on. Like, we're all going to die. People aren't afraid of death. They're afraid of life and living. The reason why they're afraid, or they appear to be afraid of death, is because what it represents is symbolism. When they're about to die, symbolism of reflecting over life and going, fuck, man, I didn't live. I did not live. I am filled with regret. That's right. It's not death that's the problem, because we all face that. You can't change or avoid that. What death represents is a reflection over your life to go, wow, did I live or didn't I? What have I not done? Which means if you're afraid of death right now, even at 42, at 48, at 51, at 37, what that means is you're not living life, man. You are not living your life. Now, yes, I'd love to be here longer. You know, if someone come to this office right now with a gun and popped me, like just beforehand, there would be an element of fear, because initially and instinctively in my life, I do not want to go. There's more that I want to do with my family, and there's more I know I can do. But if someone came along and I had to tick a box and go, it's all said and done now, today's the day, mate, you're gone, I would not have any regrets. I'd have none. Hard to say. There's so many things I wish I could have done better. There's so many things that I could have done better. There are so many things that I learned from, but where I am and how consistently grow and who I become, I continually evolve into a better person of who I am. So how can I have regrets? It's part of the journey, man. Like some of the bad shit I did, it made me such a better person in life. Would I become this person if I didn't go through that? Almost certainly not. Don't ever think you're not enough. You are enough. You are worthy of this. You can do it. It is possible. Be smart around the Christmas and holiday periods, and any holiday period for that matter. Value yourself and enjoy the period of time where you get more time with family, if that's the case. If not, spend some more time reflecting on your life, 2020, what's been, what's ahead. But above all else, man, just take ownership over it. This is your life. It's your world. Nothing else will change it for you. You must be the creator. People talk about heaven and hell. It's right here. It's right here. People create hell. People create heaven. It's up to you on what you want to do and what you decide, the choices you make, not the words you speak. That's just blabber. That's low-level energy. Valuable, but low-level stuff. It can't live and die there. What are the actions you're backing those words up with? What sort of legacy do you want to leave your family? What sort of legacy do you want to leave your family through you actually building and living that legacy yourself? That's the most important thing. If you're living and breathing and experiencing legacy and leadership, well, nothing else matters, mate. You know the kids are looked after. You know your great-great-grandkids are going to be in good place. They're going to be in good shape. Take care. Have an amazing holiday period, regardless of whether you listen to this or watch this before or after Christmas or New Year's. There are some nuggets of gold in everything that we push out and give to dads. Can't really say that in the same sentence. Nuggets and pushing out. Sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? But jokes aside, like there are some great words of wisdom, not just in my episodes, in the episodes with other dads that I've done, that sometimes you need to initiate again through listening and going, yes, I didn't get that before, because your perspective has changed. You've opened up. This is the thing. The answers are all there, mate, including for myself. I just need to open up and be receptive to them, just like you. The answers are there. The possibilities are there. The opportunities are there. You just need to be receptive. Open up, understand there's value in what we're saying, understand there's always a gift, find that and apply it to your life. And yes, you can have some good strategies with your walking, your fasting, your big feeds, your alcohol, your carbs, all of that. Absolutely. You know, we have some amazing strategies in place with RDM that helps the dads get that firepower and they're charging ahead. But it's always got to come down to that level of asking that question. Who do you want to be in this life? And why is that important? What's the destination look like? Cool. What kind of journey are you going to have to reach that destination? Because that's the real destination, the type of journey that you have in your life. Take care. Thanks again for listening or watching to this. Don't forget, we've got on iTunes, a Spotify playlist. We've got our own RDM podcast page as well. Stitcher, SoundCloud, Anchor, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere. Anything you ever need, alex@realdadmovement.com.au. Where's that book? Don't forget, I've got that Tribal Power of Environment book. Giving away for December and January. Get it, contact me, get it in your hands immediately. There's so much value in that, and it's really going to help you over this period move forward in life the right way and carving out an understanding of what's important for you, but also the importance of environment and those you're surrounded by. Take care and tune in for another episode soon of Real Dad Movement Podcast. I'll chat to you soon. Cheers.